hours, and none of them were planning to do that. They all thought they were going to take acid and be there for, maybe 20 hours, I think at the most, from like Friday night into Saturday morning kind of thing. About maybe 12, 16 hours or something. But no, that party started at Friday night and it went all the way through to fucking Sunday. And they dosed that my friend's acid at like Friday night, and the party was just crazy. There was a trampoline out back. I pissed the bed. My girlfriend spent the entire night doing cocaine in the bathroom, pissed off that she couldn't stop tripping. And then I broke up with, well, she broke up with me, but I was also furious with her for just doing cocaine with her friends all night and ditching me. That's what she did to me that night. And that was on her birthday, you know. But she was pissed at me. She was like, why are we all tripping like 30 hours later? She's like, it is Saturday night. We started last night. And she was like, why won't it end? And the whole party was like this. They were like blaming me. They were like, first they blamed me that like it was like some weird thing about they thought they thought I wasn't worth my word or something. And they wanted to doubt me and then cause it to be the end of my relationship with my girlfriend. But I mean, I brought a real dealer and I got them all tripping on balls for 3 solid fucking days. And by Sunday, they were like, we need this to end. Saturday night, I pissed the bed because she forced me to go to bed. She was like, you are tripping balls and you're like swinging your arms around and accidentally harming people because you're so high and crazy. She was like, I got to put you in the single bed here in the back and just, you got to sleep. You got to go to sleep now. You're not really in control of your functions. And she was like, I'm sympathetic to you and you're not a bad person, but you got to calm down and sleep in the bed. You're not controlling your spastic motions and you're punching people and stuff. And you're not doing it you're not harming them, but you're just, you're freaking out. You're throwing your arms around because you're so crazy on acid that you can't stop flailing your arms around. And she was like, you have to sleep in this bed. So I lied down in the bed and I hadn't pissed in like 16 hours because I was tripping balls on motherfucking, on liquid acid. And I only bought 2 hits, but I was tripping almost the hardest I'd ever been, short of those 7 gel tabs. And my girlfriend took 2 hits. She was high for 3 days. Everybody in the party bought 2 to 5 hits and none of them left. They were all terrified to drive. So we got stuck in Rachel's basement for all fucking weekend. There was a period there during the midday Saturday where we were just sitting in the sun, like wondering what to do. And there was like 50 people sitting all over her trampoline and in the backyard and the grass and stuff. And they were all blaming me. They were like, we should have been sober. Like they had never had acid that strong. And I was just like, they had acid that strong at the raves, but they'd never had a dealer in the city who wasn't like a raver dealer sell them this quality of acid before. And he warned them too. He was like, I fear your friends think that I'm not selling them good acid. He would say things to me throughout the night like that. He was like, I fear that your friends think that I've sold them a bunk drug and I have not done so. He was like telling me shit like this to my face and it was freaking me out. I was like, yeah, I know the acid is good, buddy. I've been tripping balls for 12 hours. I know it's good. I've been seeing purple waves of majesty roll across the walls for fucking 12 hours. I know the ass is good. I don't judge you. I don't judge you or say that it isn't, And he was like, okay, good. And he hung around for 3 hours and he made like $750 or something like that. And he just hung around to make sure there wasn't a fucking disaster. Then he left. When he left, I realized suddenly like that I was having a bad trip and that I wasn't supposed to sell them good drugs. I was supposed to sell them bad drugs and they were going to kick my ass for selling them bad drugs. The whole party was going to kick my ass. I got the sense of it. That's maybe it was a bad trip, but I read their faces. Nobody there liked me anymore. Not even my girlfriend. Because I just tripped balls all weekend. I took 2 hits of acid and then everybody took 2 to 5 hits and we tripped for fucking 3 solid days. It was insane. And by Sunday morning, we're like, is this going to end by school day? On Saturday night, I took Rachel's lightning globe, and I was like, I can do anything. I remember when I said it, I was like, I can do anything. I'm on acid. And I didn't say I'm on acid, but I was like, I just said I can do anything. Watch. And I picked up her $60 lightning globe off of the DJ table, and I just smashed it on the floor in the middle of the dance floor. They couldn't dance anymore because there was broken glass everywhere. Somebody who was sober found a broom, and they were like sweeping up the broken glass at 5:15 in the morning, and it was still dark in the basement, but the sun was rising. My girlfriend, she brought me out to the backyard at like 7:15 in the morning as she broke up with me. We had been together for a year, and she was just like, I fear you have a problem with drugs. And these people, they brought you here, and she told me, she was like, they wanted you to sell them bad drugs, and they were gonna kick your fucking ass when the drugs were bad. That was the plan. I didn't know. They told me when we were doing cocaine in the bathroom in the morning, and I was like, you were doing cocaine all night in the bathroom? I lost track of you at like 11:30. And I was so high I didn't know you existed anymore. It's just like, yeah, I know. You propositioned me for $5. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, you pissed the bed, and when I helped you get out of the bed, you were like, here's $5. Will you have sex with me? And that's why I'm breaking up with you. And I was like, what? I propositioned you for $5? And she was just like, yeah, you acted like I was a whore, and you offered me $5 to have sex with you. And I was like, I don't believe that you're a whore, and I don't believe you're worth $5. And I was so high on acid that I just said was what was ever in my depraved drug mind, and I don't think I was in the right place, and I don't think I am right now. And she was like, we're broken up. You're going downtown to the Dappy, and you're going to buy Rachel a new lightning globe. And I don't care how you do that. You call your mom, get her to send you $100, do something, which is what I had to do. I had to call my mom at like, I don't know, it was like 8:15 in the morning. And in order to not get 100 people gunning for me, I drove. I didn't drive. I took the bus down because I couldn't drive. I was too high on acid. I took the bus downtown at 8:15 in the morning to the Denver Pavilions, and I purchased a lightning globe for like $85 that I didn't have. I had to borrow $100 from my mother to do it, and I brought the lightning globe back to Rachel at like on Saturday at like 3:30 p.m. It took me all day to get downtown because I was so depraved on acid I couldn't actually ride the bus well. I think I probably got off the bus and got back on it. I don't know what happened, but I got on the bus and went downtown, and I bought the lightning globe like my girlfriend told me to. And I was like, well, if I'm going to resurrect this relationship from the dead, I'm going to have to do what she told me to do. So I went and bought the lightning globe, and I brought it back to Rachel. And I was like, I'm so sorry I broke your lightning globe. I was super high and depraved on acid, and I never would have done something like that. I just believed I could break the globe and nothing would happen. And she was like, it's okay. I'm so sorry this happened. Jay broke up with you. And I was like, yeah, I propositioned her for $5 when I was super depraved on acid. And she was like, that's how it ended? And I was like, yeah. I wasn't even really friends with Rachel. I just told her, I was like, yeah, I propositioned Jay for $5 when I was so depraved on acid right after I pissed in your bed. And, I had to tell her, I pissed in your bed. I'm sorry, you've got to change the sheets. And she was like, it's okay. You're depraved and high on acid. It was one of the most shameful moments of my life. And I was like, I'm sorry, you got to wash these sheets. I pissed your bed when I was high on acid. I'm terribly sorry. And she was like, it's okay. It happens. You weren't even drunk. It's crazy that it happened and you weren't even drinking, but you were just so high on acid, you let your bladder go. And I was like, yeah, I just believed that I could piss, and I did. So so then I had to buy her new sheets. I had to go buy new sheets. That was fucking crazy. I got her new sheets the next day. I was like, I'm so sorry about the bed. And I was like, I might have to buy you a new mattress. And she was like, no, there was a rubber cover on the mattress. You're okay. I was like, okay. And then I didn't see my girlfriend for a year. Yeah, she was my ex-girlfriend at that point. I didn't see her for a year. It was insane. I just never talked to her again after that. It was just insane. She broke up with me while I was high on acid. We had been together for a year. That was my first relationship. That's the whole fucking story. Yeah. And that was worse. That was worse than the 7 gel tabs. There was the night there was the night that the phone wouldn't stop ringing for 5 hours, and that was bad. It kind of broke my sanity in a way. I think I kind of lost my sanity that night. And then there was the girlfriend breaking up with me while she's high on cocaine, and I'm tripping balls on acid, and so is she. And she's breaking up with me because I brought a drug dealer who was actually competent. It wasn't like she broke up with me because I got everybody high and it was a terrible 3-day experience that they couldn't come down from. She broke up with me because I brought a drug dealer that was actually competent, and I think she wasn't planning on anything, but her friends were planning to beat my ass. And I never went around those people ever again. They were psychotic. They weren't bad people. They just were caught up in the high school drama so bad that they were looking for reasons to burn people. They decided that because I wasn't from their school, I shouldn't be dating the most beautiful girl in their school. And this isn't the first time this has happened to me either. And so they decided that they couldn't fire their relationship, really. She wasn't willing to do that. So they decided to set me up and buy a copious amount of acid from a dealer that I knew, thinking that there's no way I could possibly come up with a good acid dealer. And then like 200 people got stuck at a party for 3 days that they didn't want to be at past the first 12 hours. And they blamed me. They blamed me for that. And it was bad. It was not my fault that the acid was good. It's not my fault that you know that that I'm dating the hottest girl in the school. It's not my fault that I'm not from the school. And even back then I felt like I was a victim of bullies a lot of the time, kind of, because it was just like, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that the acid's good. It's not my fault. I'm sorry that it lasted until Monday fucking morning. You dosed at 7:15 on Friday night, and I did too, and we all did, and that acid lasted 4 fucking solid days. I remember finally sobering up somewhere around Monday at like 2 in the afternoon, and I had to smoke weed to do it because it just wouldn't stop. It was just insane. And then I finally slept for 2 days, and then I woke up to like the shambles of my life. My relationship had ended. My friendships with an entire set of friends and people from the Denver School of the Arts was over, and I never did talk to any of those people ever again. And they were good friends of mine. My friends were weirded out that I had lost my girlfriend in a day over acid. They were just weirded out by it. They were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, not really. I shouldn't have lost my relationship over acid. All I did was bring a good dealer to the party." And I'm sorry that, and I mean, a part of it it was Valentine's Day when they dosed. It was the Valentine's Day afternoon, 7 p.m. when they dosed. It was February 14th. They tripped until February 16th, which was Monday morning. Now, it was okay for like 12 hours, but then or not five, it was like 5 hours, but by 1 in the morning everybody knew that they were going to be high for days, like days, and they blamed me. And I had this like loss of my sanity, where I was like, I can't possibly be blamed for my drugs actually working. I was like, that's not something that they can lay at my feet. You asked me to bring an acid dealer. I did. It worked. What have I done wrong here? And at the end of the weekend, I was down a relationship, down about 50 friendships. I've been targeted by a bracket of bullies, essentially, who all wanted to fuck my girlfriend. And it was a bad experience. And I was just like, and that was before this. I'm sorry. That was after. That was the second worst experience of my life, and it was the worst one, really. But I mean, yeah. But then there was the ringing phone for 5 hours, and a phone ringing for 5 hours will cost you your sanity. I think it did me. Like, I think about that phone ringing, I can still hear it. It doesn't ring like in my head all the time, but when I think about this period of my life and I think about that phone ringing all night, thinking that it was my girlfriend breaking up with me or my mother kicking me out of the house or the school calling because they've expelled me or the cops calling because they're arresting me for possession or some kind of drug deal or something, or I had done some bad things. Maybe they're coming back on me finally and busting me for felony like theft or something. I was just terrified of that phone ringing past hours. But then the phone started ringing at like 1:15 in the morning. I didn't answer it, and it went for 4.5 hours. It just rang and rang and rang and rang and rang. I was like, I haven't answered the phone. I'm not going to answer the phone. God's calling. And I'm too scared to answer. It was like that. And I kept thinking about the doors, and it's like, God's calling. Are you going to answer? That's what I thought about. I was like, I'm having a God's calling bad trip. And I was having a terrible bad trip. I was like, I can't answer the phone. It won't stop ringing. And it cost me my sanity. I swear to God, that was the first time I ever lost my sanity. When it rang for 5 hours and I couldn't get it to stop until I just left the house, I was like, I have to leave this room and this ringing phone. And if my mother hears the phone ring, she'll stop the phone from ringing and she'll figure out what's wrong. She lives upstairs. I'm just going to go leave this house now so that I don't hear the fucking phone ringing anymore. And when I got in the car, the phone was still ringing in my head and I couldn't stop the ring in my head. It was like this broken loop that just kept going. And finally, like an hour later, the Howard Stern interview brought me back from the delirium enough where I didn't hear the ringing phone anymore, and I regained my sanity. But that was also really, really bad. It was like a bad night. It was really, really bad. I was sneaking around. I lied. I stole money to buy the acid. I was like bad that day. I was just bad that day. I had a weekday of drug fueled madness and I was just bad all around. I spent money that I should have been spending on my girlfriend on acid and stuff like this. And I spent like $75 on gel tabs at $10 a pop. And it just sucked. Everything I did sucked. I spent $75. I alienated my girlfriend by lying to her. I alienated my mother and I never even spoke to her about tripping. I heard the ringing phone for 5.5 hours and it kind of broke my sanity. And this is why I don't do psychedelics anymore. Thank you for letting me testify. I love you guys. I'm going to go to bed now. It's 4:10 in the morning and I'm exhausted. I've got a dentist appointment in the afternoon tomorrow, so I don't start early. It's actually a very late start at like 5 p.m. PST or some such. I'm going to stop this recording here with a reminder that you've been watching Skycatlive. Don't ever listen to the phone ring for 5 hours. It'll break your mind. And that's my story. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm trying to load my website, but nothing's happening at all. I'm going to try to control delete and see if that fixes it. I'm trying to load my website, nothing's happening at all. There's my website. Come to skycat.live, click on the cast face to donate, come to the Twitch or the YouTube, give me a like, a sub, or follow. I am going to go to bed, and I love you guys, and I'm going to post this yesterday's content now. Yesterday's content is going live. All I have to do is save. Right? Oh no, this is live. It's that one that's not live. I've got to put this up. Oops. So visibility, save. Public publish save. And I'm going to upload, but I'm not going to title tonight because I'm drunk and exhausted and I'm out of it. And I'm in a testimonial mood about acid apparently. And these old memories, they hurt my psyche. Thinking about the birthday party, Valentine's Day rave that lasted 3 days when it was only supposed to last 6 hours, it hurts my psyche. Thinking about the phone ringing for 5 hours and then listening to the Howard Stern interview and then meeting my girlfriend and having her damn near break up with me because I just didn't tell her I was tripping on acid all night. I just hid it from her. And showing my weakness to a young lady that young was like really formative for me, and it taught me a lot about myself, and I'm really not proud of that I was willing to sneak around and trip acid all night without her, and it did affect our relationship pretty badly.